Hello Confetti Club, it is Pixie, and today is going to be our first cosplay vlog for our upcoming cosplay of Falulu from Prepara. We asked you guys in the cake dress video if you'd be interested in more work, studio, sewing logs and stuff, and we got a really great response to that, so I'm so excited. This has been really fun to really film my process as I go, and also it gives me new deadlines that aren't just the con, so it's helping me work at like a more even pace and like really get certain things actually finished, whereas otherwise I might have left some of the stuff to the last minute. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive in. I am so excited. Let's start this off with the character. Who are they and why did I choose them? So Falulu is a character from Prepara or Prism Paradise, which is an idol anime for younger girls. It has a lot of magical girl elements and I love Prepara so much. I have done one Prepara cosplay in the past, Yui Yumekawa, and I'm rewatching Prepara now with my bestie Magical or Soph. So for this year's main convention that we always go to, our like local-ish convention, my best friend and I are doing another duo cosplay. So they are cosplaying Lala and I am doing Falulu. And I just think their names are also so cute together, Lala and Falulu. It's adorable. So basically in Prepara, there's kind of like a magical idol culture where there's this like world of Prepara, and there's a Prepara in most of the major cities, and young girls would receive a pre-ticket that would like fall from the sky, which is like a sparkly little ticket that of course you can get at the arcades, things you can purchase, and it would have them on it, and then that gives you entrance to Prepara and you become a magical idol. And there's fashion brands and there's competitions and there's groups and there's rivalries, and the little like fairies that you see in a lot of magical girl anime and stuff are the managers. It's very funny. This anime, I've said this so many times, every time I'm talking about Prepara, I feel like it's a comedy above almost anything else. It's just so genuinely hilarious. I need to look up who wrote it and watch more stuff by them, because it's just the timing and the theming and the running gags and the little details. It's just hootin' and hollerin'. It is guaranteed to uplift you. It is goofy, it is silly, and I just love it so much. So that's Prepara, and Falulu is a little bit different than all of the other regular idol girls who would receive like a ticket when they're 10, 11, 12 years old. Falulu is actually a vocal doll, think Vocaloid, where she's like an android, and she is actually born from all of the girls' hopes and wishes to become an idol. And yes, it is only girls at first, but in the future there are boys also. There are boy idols, don't worry. But at this point it is only girls. And Falulu just has a really great character progression. She has a beautiful song called 0 Weeks Old that I have been emo to many times as a dissociative person who sometimes feels like the whole world is foreign and I just woke up and I'm just counting the days and it feels like a dream. Good song, sweet song. She has cool ass lime green hair and mild spoilers. Mild spoilers for Prepara. So mute this until this little image goes away. But basically, because Falulu is born from all of the girls' wishes and stuff, it's like her pre-ticket is her soul or her energy, or like basically the pre-ticket that you get, most normal girls are able to snap it and trade, and then you're like each other's friends. But basically, Falulu and Lala go to snap pre-tickets, and then Falulu basically dies because that's like her soul, and then the end of that like season's arc is like a big beautiful magical concert where they try to revive her by singing the song. It's crazy. She comes back to life. She's not dead, but she killed her. I heard you killed me.
Did you kill me? I heard you killed me.
I just think that's like the craziest plot ever. So yeah, okay, spoilers over, but that's one of the reasons why I think Falulu is so cool. And I think without spoiling anything, I can say that she has two kind of versions of her hair, and I am doing the second version of her hair because I am doing one of many cowards. Prepara is also very big on the fashion, like I mentioned. There are a million different fashion brands and a million different cowards. It is so fun to go through the wiki and just scan through and look at every single Prepara coward. Some of them aren't even in the anime, some are from the games. It's really just endless, but anyway. I am doing the Fancy Unicorn coward, which isn't just a random one, although I have nothing against doing things that showed up once or weren't ever even in the anime just because the design is cool. Like, do that, I'll probably do that. But she wears this for like the entire third season, so it's really fun. Watching it and getting to see her in it, and all the many different ways that they animate it, and sometimes just leave things fully out. Also, I never acknowledged my hair. Did the accessories get away on me, or am I having a good time? I tried to make this semi-Falulu inspired. What's going on? Fancy Unicorn coward coded just a little bit. So yeah, speaking of all the different ways they draw it and animate it, it was time to gather references. That is the first step of any cosplay. At least what I do is I gather references. I ended up patching together this sheet where I like very badly photoshopped. The best illustration of Falulu in the Fancy Unicorn coward is where she's with Lala and Lala's dress is kind of covering hers up, so I tried, it looks like they wronged each other. But yeah, no, later I also ended up fully sketching it out just so I could really make sure I knew where every single ruffle and petal thing and layer and little bow was going. I didn't want to miss anything, because in some scenes, and I don't blame them, because I think you should definitely go for it and design something super crazy detailed like this, and then if you have an episode where the budget's cut a little bit and she just doesn't have wings, or she just doesn't have the petals on her waist, whatever. This thing changes size and shape every episode, but I was able to gather some pretty solid references. There's also like no figures of Falulu. There's one Nendoroid and one garage kit thing, but none of this coward. Sorry, I have a picture of it on my wall. None of this! I do really like that there are the 3D CGI images from like the arcade games, so those are really handy. And that also is what made me clue into the fact that this fabric is all glittery. At least like the frilly stuff and the ruffles on the skirt, that's all glittery. And I can't just ignore that. It would be dishonest and wrong of me to not get glittery fabric for this. However, okay, I guess I'm segueing into fabric shopping time, and I'll do pattern drafting after that. I am still on the fabric hunt for this cosplay, and it has been a little bit agonizing, but it's gotta feel so good whenever it comes, hopefully. I'm hanging on to that. I really wanted to avoid having glitter shedding off of my cosplay. Not only is that a nightmare to work with and deal with, and you know, not nice to the people at the hotel or the con center or the earth, hey, mostly the earth. That's like the most unsustainable thing you can do, is just shed microplastics wherever you go. So I wanted to find a fabric that was not just glitter glued on top of fabric topically, no glitter tulle, no glitter glue dot. Thought about glitter glue dot, but I still don't trust her. And I ended up searching for materials that had tinsel basically woven into the fabric. And this led me to the wonderful world of lurex. I hope I'm saying that right. I have a couple of things made of this material. This was really, really trendy back in like 2017 when I went to Tokyo. I got a lot of things with this material. So I've already kind of felt it. I have some stretchy stuff, some non-stretchy stuff, some scratchy stuff, and I have not placed this order yet. The next video I'll probably have my friggin' fabric and trim unboxing, I guess. But I found this listing on the website One Yard, and I believe that this is the ticket. I looked at so many websites. I dug so deep, just hours and hours and hours. I sent emails. I tried looking at like remnant warehouses and dead stock places. I kept running into this where I would find a fabric that came in every color I needed except for one. And I desperately wanted them all to be the same material. I desperately. They're all gonna be ruffly and I don't want them to be, you know, one's doing this and one's doing this and one's doing, like, come on. So I was so relieved to find this listing, lurex in these pastels, and I am still ordering online, which is nerve-wracking with fabric. I really wish I could feel it in person and see it in person, but I've looked at this on multiple devices to try and get an idea for the color, and they have really great videos and stuff showing the fabric move around, how it kind of bunches, how it drapes, so I'm putting my trust in the universe, because there's just nothing local. However, everything else on the dress, I mean, not everything else, but the white is easy because I still have a bunch of really heavy duty, like thick bridal satin. So all that material for the bodice, the sleeves, the base of the skirt also, that's all good and accounted for. I don't have to even go buy that. The bodice, I am going to, I think, add in a layer of cotton duck. I'm not gonna make it like a full corset, but I'm gonna bone it and I'm gonna add a layer of duck because even though the skirt is going to be separate, I'm gonna have like hooks and stuff. So it's still gonna be kind of supporting a humongous skirt. And also it would just be nicer and more high quality if it was boned. So boned bodice, which is something I haven't done since fashion school, and I did that via Zoom from my house in a miniature version. We didn't actually do the full corset thingy because the world was falling apart. We did a little sample at home, but it can't be that hard. I rewatched the Sarah Spaceman video about corsets twice, and I feel semi-equipped. You may have noticed there's also a printed fabric for 2 layers of the ruffles on that skirt, and I did decide to illustrate and order it from Spoonflower rather than try and track down existing fabric with a print that's similar. Also just because I love illustrating and I've ordered from Spoonflower a bunch of times. Actually, only 3 times, but spread out over 10 years. So I feel like I've been a loyal patron of theirs for a long time, and I've just always been really happy with my stuff. So that material will be different than the lurex, but I'll try and make sure it's as close as possible, and I think that's fine. For some reason, I feel like on the printed layers, it's okay if it's not the same material, because it's like, how could it be? You know? But aside from fabric, there is another list of things that needed to be taken care of. This cosplay has wings. I am trying something new with this. I had a brain blast and I googled crochet wings because I was like, hey, couldn't that kind of make it look like a feather? You know, I've seen crocheted leaves. What about a crocheted feather? And I saw some really beautiful examples and I was like, I wonder if I could get away with that and not have it look like a misplaced, mismatched Kirby's Epic Yarn object. Does anyone know what I mean? I feel like I've said this 100 times. Talking to my friends about this cosplay, I'm like, does it look like Kirby's Epic Yarn? I've never played that game, but I know that just everything's made of yarn. And I'm just worried that it's gonna be like, oh, that thing's crocheted and it shouldn't be. But basically, that pattern has been really fun to work on as I go. I've been using this white sparkly yarn that I just already had in my stash. And crocheting these is really interesting. I really had to kind of like use my brain and do some math. especially because I'm making 2 matching wings. You really can't just wing it, haha. You really need to like make sure they both actually are symmetrical or it's gonna look really, really bad. So I basically just sketched out kind of a mock-up in Procreate. I did some like napkin math and calculations, and I ended up getting these 3 different layers of little like scallopy feather shapes. To get these shapes, or I guess the bottom 2 layers, I had to go across one way, turn around, and then go across again, but also go down for the centers of the feathers. And once I reached the end of the chain again, I would go back and actually add like the meat onto the bones, you know? And then after I made my way across all of those, I went around again a couple of times just to like beef it up. And I'm really proud of these. I've never crocheted anything this shape, and I don't know, I'm glad that I was able to figure it out. I am gonna see how these look with the finished cosplay. I'm also going to block them with a glue and water mixture, and I'm gonna try and pin them in a shape so that they kind of like curve a little bit out. There's also gonna be a wire in them. I just have to pick up some wire that's coated in plastic or enamel or something, because I need to put the wire in before I block it, and if I put in like regular metal wire and then soak it in water, I'm pretty sure that will rust all over my yarn and I'll cry. I used metal binder clips to clamp some cute little trim that I was gluing to a notebook, and I guess the wetness of the glue made the clamps like rust all over the notebook, and it's literally so sad. I covered it up with more ribbon. But yeah, that's the story on the wings. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that same crochet method for the wings in her hair, and we're gonna get to her hair. I think I'll see how they look on the back of the cosplay with all of the other like regular shiny fabric stuff. I just hope they don't look out of place. I think once it's blocked, it's gonna look more like feathers and less like the like tongues from like a shoe. I also need to figure out how I'm gonna wear that, and if I need to like put little like holes in the dress or something. I hate figuring out how to harness wings, mostly because I've only ever done it very badly. So I should probably figure out how to do that and not have them fall off of my back while I exit the stage. It is time for another very fun part of any project, especially for cosplay, because you have to find very specific things. It is time for bead and notion and cabochon and button and pearl shopping. Any little trims, any little metal things, any little... I have spent... I don't want to know the number. I don't want to know the number of hours I've spent looking. Especially because I'm trying to find one website where I can get a couple things to like save on shipping and to save on the amount of things that I'm shipping, because I care about the earth. So I ended up finding this one ginormous craft supply website. And again, the amount of hours I've spent on just this one website trying to find the exact right like arrangement and balancing the shipping. I had 2 pounds of pearls! I didn't realize each listing was for a whole pound of pearl beads, because she has these 2 giant loopy pearl things going around her giant skirt, and then 3 danglies. I'm like, I'm gonna need a million giant pearls, but I can't. The shipping was $40 and the items were $20, and I was like, I need to do more math. I already have a little mold for a small cameo, which she has on her shoes. So I thought it would be great if I could find a large cameo mold so that it will match exactly. And I was also looking at tutorials on how to get polymer clay to really look like metal. So that is one of the roads I'm trying to go down. But basically, the large cameo mold is the only final thing I'm having a hard time tracking down. Hopefully by the time I post my next Falulu work log, I will be opening these things and sharing them with you and going, oh my god, it's perfect, I can't wait to get to work. But yeah, it's just been a stupid amount of hours of Googling and bookmarking things and adding them to my cart and then being like, why is the shipping like triple the amount? What is going on? And that is the end of me complaining about shopping for craft supplies online. I actually might save my ramblings for the wig for the next video that I do on this, because I don't really have anything to report other than that also took me hours and hours and hours of researching, and I ended up getting it off of Taobao. And yeah, I love it. She's perfect. You want to see her? Miss Ma'am will obviously need to be curled. I have decided after so much debate that I'm not gonna do the wire tape drill method, because I have to dance in this, and I just think that I just think it would look bad. And there's so many other big challenges to this costume, and I just think that this is gonna be more elegant and soft and wearable and practical and invite less terror into my life. Sorry if you think I'm so lame for that. It just looks like such a nightmarish process. I know it would be like perfect for her, but how am I gonna dance in that? And then I'm gonna have one stray hair and I'm gonna lose my mind. It would be uncomfortable. It would be a sensory nightmare. Let me make my life a little bit easier. Wow, that took me longer to talk about all of that than I thought. I am only now getting to the part of narrating all the stuff I have filmed up until this point, which it's been, what, 3 months of me working on this now? No, I started January 2nd. I'm actually keeping a timesheet this time. So yeah, it's been like 4 whole months. Patterning this was super fun. As always, I love patterning. I ended up doing 3 entire separate mock-ups, or I guess I shouldn't say entire, 3 bodice mock-ups, because I was really trying to nail that sleeve. I've never done a sleeve like this before. I think the sleeves are perfect. It is so puffy and so princessy, and these are actually really fun and easy to install. They're pretty foolproof because you just match up that seam on the underarm with the side seam on the bodice, and then anything extra you can just gather at the top. So it's like the most foolproof sleeve of all time. My world has kind of changed. I might never do a different sleeve ever again. I also had to open up the top of my bust line a little bit just because things were sitting weird. Some curves were wrong and I just added in a little pie slice there. This is what you do, by the way, if you're doing a fitting and you need to add in volume instead of take it away. If you need to take it away, you can just pin it in. And if you need to add some, you can have a little extra scrap of fabric, pin it in there, a little zip zap zop. It's actually so satisfying. Look at that, brand new dart. I know exactly where it is. I know exactly where to pencil it in. Pattern complete. For the mock-up of the skirt, I started with a full circle skirt, and then I decided to just do a panel of the ruffles. This probably sounds very obvious, but I was so stressed about mocking this up because I was like, that's so much ruffling, I'm gonna die. Hey, you just need the lengths of them and the amount of gathering. You don't have to do the whole circle skirt. Anyway, come to mama. I have no hairspray. She's just being held together by love. So yeah, I took the length of the skirt and I divided it by 7. And then I just scooted the numbers around a bit because some of the layers are longer than others. Specifically, the 2 printed layers are just a little bit longer. And at first I debated on whether I was gonna just like make them all the same because I don't like this design element. But even in the wonkiest screenshots from the anime, it's always clear that those ones are larger, so I'm being faithful to Miss Lulu. So yeah, I mocked it up with the glittery lurex layers being 7 centimeters each, and the printed ones being 10, and I just did this all out of some scrap chiffon. No, that's not gonna give me the same exact drape and stuff. It's similar. I chose something a little bit scratchy that like kind of drapes the same, but yeah, basically this taught me that this wasn't long enough. So I added about 3 to each, and again, Whenever I sew this on the actual thing, I can also add a lot of seam allowance, but the big reason why I needed these numbers is because I need to know how much fabric to order. I found myself at a crossroads in front of some dominoes. I don't think that's a saying, but the dominoes go like this. So I'm like, I need to know how much fabric to buy. And in order to know how much fabric to buy, I need to pattern the dress. And in order to pattern the dress, I need to have the shape of the skirt. I need to make a hoop skirt. Now is the time. I cannot escape. The hoop steel is here. It's my destiny. It's time. I made a hoop skirt. I made a hoop skirt. Do you want to see? So yeah, in order to know exactly how big the skirt was gonna be, how much I was gonna have to ruffle, cause this skirt didn't end up being a full circle and ended up taking out a good chunk of volume, which is great. Makes it less ruffling and less stuff to work on in the actual like width of the skirt. But yeah, that means that I have to face a fear that I have been avoiding, a thing I've been putting off for what, 3 years now? I graduated in 2021. It was 2020. 4 years now! 4 years I've been hiding from the hoop steel in my closet. Do you want to see how scary this is? Where is she? Is it still downstairs? Oh no, it's around her neck! See? It's trying to kill her! I heard you killed me! Okay, this probably doesn't look scary to you. I'm gonna show you the footage. Roll the footage. First of all, it says do not cut ties. Yes, ma'am. And they're correct. And I guess I didn't Google. I guess I just didn't ask. I was in fashion school. Hey, you literally could have asked anyone, how do I safely cut my hoop steel? How do I safely roll this out if I can't cut the ties? What do I do? I'm sure I've been so afraid of this because, hey, roll the footage. It's thick ass steel wound into a small circle with all caps, an all caps sign on it saying, do not f with her. So yeah, thank you to the domino crossroad, because this forced me to be like, hey, you need to make the hoop skirt. You have all of the stuff. You are so lucky it is sitting in front of you on a silver platter. You have all the stuff to make a hoop skirt. You have your math from years ago for it. You have your bestie friend who made one last year and who also sent you an epic video tutorial that I then also found naturally looking on my own for a tutorial, and then I went back in our messages and realized that was also the same one that they sent me. So huge shout out to So Black for this video tutorial on how they made their hoop skirt and also a petticoat. I really want to also try making that petticoat, especially so I have something long enough to be a layer over this. But yeah, this video was so helpful and so beautifully edited. Really awesome. I watched this multiple times, so please go check them out. I used their tutorial a lot and so did my friend. So big credits to them. That also made this way less scary to see someone on camera working with it. Hello. And they make a lot of other really cute Lolita and like sewing DIY content. So yeah, go give them some love. I'll put them in the description. But basically, I just finally had to do it. I even had the proper tin snip metal cutting things that I bought years ago for this. So like I really had all the tools I needed. I just needed to like pussy up. But yeah, I ended up making my hoop skirt pretty much the exact same measurements as my best friend's, mostly because I think it would be great to have our poofs matching, and also because the math that I did for the one I was gonna do for my fashion show was 4 hoops. Why? That's why I have so much hoop steel left and my hoop skirt's done. I could make a second hoop skirt. So I was like, let me be normal. Let me share in the wealth and knowledge. So yeah, let it be known that I ended up not really doing my own hoop skirt math. I did it before. I paid my dues. I'm not taking any stolen math valor here. I mentioned cotton duck a little bit earlier whenever I was talking about adding layers to my bodice to make it not a corset, but to make it a bit sturdier and have more structure to support that skirt. I had a good chunk of this cotton duck left from fashion school, enough to actually make the vertical strips for my hoop skirt. I really like this because it's super heavy duty, it's really solid. And then the long tube that I made to case in the hoop steel is just cotton twill. Also, the way that I made that big long twill tube for the hoop steel, I made it so that I wouldn't have to turn it inside out, because I hate turning tubes inside out, and one this long made out of twill would have just taken so long and been a nightmare. So I decided to serge it and then fold over that serging and stitch that down. So that gave me a nice good channel. Looks good, looks clean, and I didn't have to spend a bunch of time turning it inside out. To figure out where the hoops were going to sit along those vertical strips, I started by marking the same spot on all of them. I can't remember exactly how far down this is, but I made sure they were all the same, and I used the heat erase pen with those, and then I pinned it onto my mannequin and I kind of played with it to get the right shape. So it's partially math and partially pinning on a mannequin, like most sewing. For the waistband, I actually had some pieces of this woven strap material left over, so I used that. I've made belts out of this kind of thing before, and I also had one of my belt buckles left over from my college collection, and I just thought this was the perfect little slider. This one is like B grade, it had a bubble in it or something, or you could see some of the 3D printing lines, so I just slapped that on there, and it's a really great, easy to put on, adjustable, slidey thing. I've had a lot of great ease putting this on underneath big fluffy petticoats and skirts, so I think it's a really great, easy thing to install and like a foolproof way to get that hoop skirt on ya. I do still need to actually stitch a bunch of this in, but this is the official shape and pinning, and it's like 95% done. So I'm sorry you can see those little flaps flapping around, but this is a progress video. So it will be done. But look, hoop skirt! Ooh! I love you guys very, very much. I have to run. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you are looking forward to more cosplay work vlogs. Things are gonna get way more colorful and interesting in the next one. This was a lot of me yapping about shopping for stuff, and then just like cutting in muslin and making a hoop skirt, which is fun for me. Hoop skirt's cool. But yeah, hopefully next time we are like curling the wig and cutting the fabric and maybe opening the exciting package of trims and etc. We can only hope. But yes, if you enjoyed this, oh my god, maybe give a like. Does that jump scare any people who really watch all my videos? How many times have I asked people to like? Maybe 5 times. It feels so unnatural and it feels so wrong coming from me. But if you liked it... Anyway, we love you guys so much. We'll see you in the next video, which is not this one because this one's over. Bye!